Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Surprise Jab Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Ruger, surprising you with new topics every single week and jabbing you with your daily dose of UFC. And we are back with a banger UFC Fight Night, UFC Abu Dhabi, Corey Sandhagen versus Umar Nurmagomedov. I mean, top 10 bantamweight action. The winner of this most likely gain the next title shot between Sean O'Malley and Rob Dovasheli. Whoever wins the belt in September, the winner of this main event will probably be taking them on. So it's an absolute banger going down this Saturday. And a little midday fight card for any of my U.S. fans. You know, I believe Central Time here in Minnesota. The prelims start at 11, main card starts at 2. I'm all here for it. We got preview and predictions for that entire card on this episode. Also on today's episode, looking at some new news in the UFC. Not so much new fights, but some new news, some rumors that have been circling around. We're also going to be giving an official review of True Detective Season 1. I finally got around to watching this. I've been told it was great. I'm going to give my thoughts on True Detective Season 1. As well, we'll be dropping our WWE SummerSlam Predictions. That goes down this Saturday, the biggest wrestling event of the summer, second biggest wrestling event of the entire year. So that's going to be super fun to talk about. As well, looking at top 10 new things in pop culture. And we are back with a Verdict Q&A. I, of course, give a question to the Verdict MMA community, and they respond and give me some answers, and we talk about it. Got a lot of fun on today's episode, episode 107. How about that? 107 episodes of the Surprise Jab Podcast. Let's get right into it, folks, with some new UFC news. If no one's really paying attention, you know, I record some episodes a couple days apart and some I record back-to-back. And this is one of those back-to-back episodes. So on episode 106, we pretty much went over all the new fights that have been announced. So in the last 24 hours since I last recorded, there hasn't been any new fights. But I did find some interesting news, which I figured we could talk about. So first off, Leron Murphy in the men's featherweight division, coming off a main event win over Edson Barbosa. Leron's currently ranked number 11. He's looking for an opponent. Okay, he's looking for an opponent. Not really able to find anyone. Everyone above him is kind of booked or just fought. So lo and behold, who's trying to get him to fight him? None other than the 14th ranked Dan Ige. Trying to talk with him a bit on Twitter, sending a meme, trying to send like the eyes going like, hey, who should you fight? Fight me. I think Dan Ige versus Leron Murphy would be a great fight. I will say that Dan Ige would be a great choice, you know, as someone who Leron Murphy could fight after Edson Barbosa. But Leron really strikes me as someone who's going to be fighting number 9 ranked Calvin Kattar if he beats Kyle Nelson, number 7 ranked Josh Emmett, you know, Giga Chikadze. I think Leron's fighting up Dan Ige. You may be fighting someone down just from my kind of analysis of things, but well, we'll see what happens. I am interested to see what both those gentlemen do. But Dan Ige, he's down to scrap. We'll see if Leron Murphy ever responds. Corey Sandhagen said about his upcoming fight with Umar Nurmagomedov that he will be willing to shoot takedowns on Umar Nurmagomedov if the situation prevents itself or comes to himself, however you want to say it. What is it? If the situation reveals itself? I don't even know how you phrase that. But Corey Sandhagen, more of a striker. He's turned to his grappling in the last 3 fights. But Umar Nurmagomedov, I did this little stat earlier. I think in his 26 minutes, or like, I think it's 42 minutes of octagon time, he's controlled like 60 or 70%. Like, Umar Nurmagomedov is a legit grappler coming from the Dagestani camp, Khabib's cousin. I mean, Corey Sandhagen, we'll see how that goes for you, but if I'm Corey, I want to keep it on the feet. Sean Brady, who is the currently ranked where is Sean Brady in the men's welterweight division? Currently the number 8th ranked men's welterweight in the world. He has an upcoming main event in September against number 6 ranked Gilbert Burns. And he said after he wins that, we'll say if he wins that, he wants to take on Colby Covington next, currently ranked number 4. I think that's a perfect fight. I do think that Ian Gary may be fighting Colby Covington coming up. That's kind of my hunch. But hey, you know, Sean Brady not calling out the champion after fighting someone like Gilbert Burns. I like the move, and now that loss to Bilal Muhammad has aged beautifully for Sean Brady. His only professional loss is to Bilal Muhammad, and as we all know, Bilal Muhammad just became the new welterweight champion. Yet again, we'll check back in September and see if he's even in a position to call out Colby Covington. Also, in the new UFC news, Zabit Magomedsharipov, former top 3 actually, featherweight in the world, who after 2019 unfortunately retired due to health issues, says the UFC, their management team, has asked him to come back and fight 4 times, but every time Zabit has had to say no and claims he won't come back for any amount of money, which is just really unfortunate because I think Zabit would have been a reigning champion here in the UFC. He had the striking of like a Max Holloway, and he had the grappling of a Khabib Nurmagomedov. He was so good. I never got to see him fight live. I've only rewatched his fights against, I can't even think of the names. I know he fought Calvin Kattar. Other than that, just some other randos I don't think I knew yet. But it's a shame I'll never get to see Zabit Magomedsharipov. But you can play with him at EA Sports UFC 5, which I do because he's a fun player to play with. Tatsuro Taira in the men's flyweight division. Tatsuro Taira now ranked number 5 in the world. Tatsuro, of course, is undefeated, a perfect 16-0 with 8 first-round finishes, 12 finishes overall. Says he has a fight coming. All right, he just announced on his IG that he says we're going to fight. He says we're going to fight. And when I look at the men's flyweight division, there's a couple of options. Okay, there's a couple of options, guys. Looking at the 5 men and the champion above Tatsuro Taira, actually, he's ranked number 5, so I guess the 4 men above him. Kai Kara France, ranked number 4, is currently taking on number 7th ranked Steve Ercik. Okay, so he's not fighting him. Amir Albazi is kind of linked to a fight between the number 1 ranked Brandon Royval, which leads me to believe you may be getting Tatsuro Taira versus Brandon Moreno, former flyweight champion. I think that's a beautiful fight. I think that's going to be what could happen next, unless they just give him the title shot, which I would not put past them, because there is really not a clear-cut contender at men's flyweight. But Tatsuro Taira getting back in the octagon. I love him. Rising Japanese star. Tatsuro Taira, too, a very cool name. I can see that on his champion plaque on the UFC rankings. Current bantamweight champion Sean O'Malley recently predicted that Corey Sandhagen would beat Umar Nurmagomedov this weekend, and he also said that Devson Figueiredo will beat Marlon Vera this upcoming weekend. We agree on maybe half of those. We'll have to see. You'll have to stay to the end to get all my official predictions. But the current champion, I'm sure, doesn't want a piece of Umar Nurmagomedov, as he's already going to have to deal with a grappler in Merab Dvalishvili. And if I'm being honest, if Sean can get through Merab at the Sphere September 14th at UFC 306, I definitely think he can get past Umar Nurmagomedov. Now, kind of different styles. Merab is much more pressure. Umar is much more control. You know, that's a story for another day. We'll have to see how September goes before we answer a lot of these questions. Undefeated, 13-0, number 14th ranked light heavyweight Azamat Murzakanov believes he could possibly challenge Alex Pereira in 2025 for the belt. He says that Alex's striking defense is not as good, and he doesn't move much on the feet. He says Alex has a great kickboxing technique, but it doesn't work so well anymore in MMA. We'll have to see what happens with Azamat Murzakanov. Of course, the undefeated light heavyweight does go to battle against Alonzo Menefield this weekend, ranked just ahead of him in the light heavyweight rankings. Hey, you know, he's undefeated. He's coming off a big win over Dustin Jacoby. We'll see what happens with Azamat this weekend, but I think we should slow down on the Alex Pereira talks, because I'm pretty sure Pereira has like 6 inches in height on him, so that would play a pretty big factor. We got 3 more news bits for you. First off, former champion Kamaru Usman and a former opponent, rival, if you will, of Leon Edwards. Kamaru Usman said that Leon Edwards should go up to 185 pounds. He just doesn't see much more opportunity for Leon Edwards at welterweight. And if I'm being honest, there's not going to be a Bilal Muhammad Leon Edwards 3. That is just not going to happen, okay? Leon is either going to have to fight Shavkat Rakhmonov, Jack Della Maddalena, Ian Gary, and he's going to be passed up. Now, let's say you go up to middleweight, all right? We throw you in against someone like, Hamza Chimaev. That fight's always there. A Robert Whittaker fight could even be good. Kind of hard to picture that. Marvin Vettori fight. There's some options for Leon, but, I do have to say, I just feel his time's over. When a lot of these guys lose the belt, their time kind of fades away. On the more unfortunate side of things, Conor McGregor was recently given a 2-year driving ban in the country of Ireland, where he's from, relating to a red light and a very bad accident that he caused. I didn't even hear this in any of the news. The judge on the case did consider giving him an actual prison sentence, but went the other way with the suspension of his driving privileges. Conor McGregor is the definition of money ruins you. Okay, don't get me wrong. McGregor's provided for his entire family. His kids are set. He's changed the future for the UFC. But all I see is bad things he does, and the power that he holds from all his money gets him out of all the trouble. So, I mean, should have went to prison. Most people would have to go to prison. If you're Conor McGregor, you're privileged, and you don't have to. Will he even fight in December? I don't know, but the longer he doesn't fight, the more I want to pick Michael Chandler for some reason. That's just how I feel about that. And the final little tidbit of news that we got, I'm excited about this one. Number 12 ranked, I believe he might have one loss, 16-1 on a 13-fight win streak. Kyle Barallo recently says he has an upcoming main event at 185 pounds. Recently revealed that, which is super exciting. And when we kind of look at who he could be fighting, number 10 ranked Roman Dolidze doesn't have an opponent. Number 9 ranked Jack Hermanson doesn't have an opponent. And I'll dare go as far as even number 6 ranked Marvin Vettori. So that could be an Apex card or something. Very excited about that. We'll have to see if anything transpires out of that. But hey, you know what? I am all for any of those fights. Love Kyle Barallo. And breaking news right now on the podcast, son of a gun, UFC 308 on October 26th, Leron Murphy will fight Dan Ige. I mean, wow, we were just talking about that. Lo and behold, that fight was made, which is super exciting. I love that. How about that? That's how we're gonna end. That's how we're gonna end our little new UFC news segment here, with the fact that a fight we were just rumored could be taking place is officially taking place. UFC 308. I mean, that's in October, but October will be here before we know it, and so will my birthday. October 1st is my birthday. I hope you all will be wishing me a happy birthday when that comes around, because we like to celebrate good things. And let me tell you something good, a good thing that I recently saw, and that was the first season of True Detectives. I recently binged it. I've been hearing that True Detective Season 1 is one of the best single seasons, if not the single best season of television, and I decided to give it a chance, and guess what? Lo and behold, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. Starring Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson. It is brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. And the entire theme of the season are these two detectives who were on this case to try and solve the murder of this girl, and there's like a cult, and then there's like a mystery of who did it. Twists and turns along the way, you finally get to the conclusion, and it's a very fulfilling season. The character development is absolutely insane. Woody Harrelson is this unfaithful husband cheating on his wife with Alexandra Barbario? What's her name? Alexandra Daddario, there it is, and some other bimbo later in the show, and Matthew McConaughey, who's lost his wife and daughter, and is just basically a drunk. He's a crazy, but he's such a good detective. Okay, he's Russ Cole in the film, and what is Woody Harrelson's character's name in the film? I can't seem to recall it. Marty and Rust. And it's super good. 8 episodes, each one. They, honestly, some leave with a cliffhanger, but the majority leave it where it's like not a cliffhanger, but you just want more. And it's pieced together super well. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know if this was for the first season, but I know in general, True Detective is sitting at over an 8 out of 10 on the metric scale. I know it's at almost 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. So very, very good. But yes, Alexandra Daddario is in this. You also have Madison Wolfe. Erin Marotti plays Marty's son. Not son, daughter. She's Starlight from The Boys. I'm trying to think who the wife is. Is it... I recognize the wife from the film, Woody Harrelson's film. For goodness sakes, Michelle Mahogany, I believe, is her name. Yes, it is. And crazy stuff happens with her throughout the season. But I just kind of wanted to highlight how good this was, and I encourage everyone else to watch it. I won't really go too in-depth and give any spoilers, but I mean, certainly some just dark things. It really shows some good detective tricks in this one. I feel like a lot of this stuff is very realistic. That could potentially happen. It takes place in Louisiana. The setting, the tone, the music, it just engulfs you. And you really never know, like, who the murderer is, who the detective is really like who did it. And one of the good, crazy, not even crazy, just the interesting things how they shot this is they kind of begin it where, they have part of this taking place in 1995 when, Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey first get paired up for this as detectives and trying to solve the case. And they think they solve it. And then in 2002, they realize, okay, maybe they made some mistakes. They have a falling out between the both of them. And amidst that, it's kind of like flashbacks, but it's telling the story. And then in the present, which is like 2014, you have these two new detectives who are interviewing them, trying to piece together the stories because they apparently lost the files for the case. It burned down, but there's more to that. And it's pieced together very well. And it just ends. And, is someone going to die? Is someone not going to die? You never know what happens. You can never really guess where the show is going to go. And there's nudity, there's vulgarity, there's gore, there is cussing, there is shocking scenes. I mean, it does a brilliant job of showing you things. And, the detectives, Matthew McConaughey is definitely not the most ethical person, but he calls it how he sees it in the film. And it's just very good, very good. It earns a solid 9 out of 10 for me. I've heard the other 3 seasons are not as good. I've heard that season 4 isn't really that good. Season 2 isn't that good. Season 3 is okay. I might watch season 2 since it has Vince Vaughn in it. And, I kind of like Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn is a cool actor. But yes, good stuff from True Detective Season 1. It gets the Surprise Jet Podcast, the Zach Ruger stamp of approval. If any of you guys watch it, let me know, because I greatly encourage it. And honestly, it makes me want to watch more Matthew McConaughey movies. That man is a brilliant actor. Matthew McConaughey, a Texas, right? Texas or Tennessee? I think he's a Texas alumni. Very cool. I'd ask for his opinion on things, most definitely. And speaking of asking opinions, if no one knows, there is a community out there of fellow MMA fans on this app called Verdict MMA, where you can make your predictions, you can talk about stuff in a discussion form. It is absolutely amazing, and I've started this segment where every week I pose a question in the discussion form, and I ask the community to answer it for me. And we always just kind of talk about what everyone is thinking, my thoughts on it, and we just kind of go through it. It's fun. It can take a minute. It can take 20 minutes. We always will have to see. So the question for this week is, what is the best matchup to make in every UFC division? Okay, and everyone kind of just gave one fight answers, which is pretty good, so that helps us out. Oliveira Sub started out by saying Poirier versus Gaethje 3. Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier, 2 top 5 fighters in the men's lightweight division. Gaethje at 3, Poirier at 4. Both coming off of knockout losses, or I guess Poirier didn't get knocked out. Poirier got submitted. But, as of right now, they're 1-1 in their feud, all right? Each man has a win. Poirier knocked him out in 2018, round 4 TKO. Gaethje knocked him out cold with a head kick last summer. I really would enjoy this, and I would see it as a retirement fight for whoever loses. Even they could both retire with a draw. It just writes itself. 2 guys who give it their all every time they're in the octagon. Absolutely loved that prediction, and it got 6 thumbs up. Another one, Sean O'Malley versus Corey Sandhagen. That would be a striker's delight. But I will say, the way that Corey Sandhagen's been fighting, he's been leaning much more on his grappling. He has lost a lot of his fans. Okay, this was a guy who's doing jumping knees to knock out Frankie Edgar, spinning back kicks to knock out Marlon Moraes, taking Petr Yan to a fight of the night decision. And then, Song Yadong fight was really good. That was bloody. But then Rob Font grappled him every single round. Marlon Vera grappled him every single round. And it just got boring. He lost his fan base, which, it sucks to see that. But, when you take that approach, that's what'll happen. The right hook, that was the guy who proposed this, also said, I think Merab beats Sean, but I can easily see O'Malley winning. Sandhagen, on the other hand, is beating Umar 9 out of 10 times. Wow, so the confidence there is that we could have Merab Dvalishvili versus Corey Sandhagen, which I also think would be a very good matchup. Ruffner said Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane would be an interesting fight. The new generations of heavyweight. Protege Peter 2106 said if Gane would even sign to do it. Love that approach. And after watching, love that fight. After watching Tom Aspinall just run through Curtis Blades. And after seeing Cyril Gane's, kind of, I don't really want to say lackluster, but sort of just average performances against Tai Tuivasa 2 years ago, Sergey Spivak last year, there's little to be desired with Cyril Gane. And he's rematching Alexander Volkov, who is deserved of a rematch. Alexander Volkov is on a great win streak right now, all finishes. Coming into, he didn't finish Pavlovich, but on a little win streak here, and they'll be doing battle at UFC 308. But, he kind of ducked him before. Tom Aspinall called out Cyril Gane in the past. He ducked him. Now Tom Aspinall calls the shots, and he's kind of like, Gane, you're not deserving of this. I'm going for John Jones. And, Cyril Gane is going to just have to sit on the back burner. He had a crack at John Jones. It didn't go well. I would absolutely love that fight, and I think Cyril Gane would be finished by knockout for the first time in his career if he were to take on Tom Aspinall. Main event, Mike said, I feel like the best middleweight matchup you can make right now is either Khamzat Chimaev versus Paulo Costa or Khamzat Chimaev versus Marvin Vettori. Protege Peter responded, I was so much more excited for a Khamzat Costa matchup when it was signed. Costa doesn't do it for me at this point. I kind of agree. Paulo Costa has kind of been passed up in this division. I think Marvin Vettori would be a great test, to Khamzat Chimaev, as no one's been able to crack the code on how to knock down, much less finish, Marvin Vettori. Meanwhile, Paulo Costa, the script is there. You just box him from the outside and you put the pressure on him, and he's not going to do much. Khamzat Chimaev, it's hard to say what Khamzat will get. Last time we saw him, it was on short notice against Kamaru Usman. He couldn't really finish him in that fight. It wasn't even a fight in the night. And, we're lucky if we even see Khamzat fight again in the octagon. He just has constant issues over and over and over again. But I would like either of those fights if they were to occur. Protege Peter also threw out Leon versus Shavkat. Jace 2006 said JDM versus Shavkat, and it's not even close. So a lot of options there. Leon Edwards, I think, would be really good matched up with with Jack Della Maddalena. Winner of that could take on the winner of Shavkat and Bilal. And as for Ian Gary, he'll just be fighting Colby Covington or something. But, it's tough to say. You kind of got three rising stars, all almost undefeated. Jack Della Maddalena isn't undefeated, but he feels undefeated. Leon versus Shavkat, I think Shavkat wins. JDM versus Shavkat, I think Shavkat wins. And the final matchup that was set on here by Never Lost a Round, Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. I absolutely want that fight. I'm thinking that's what's next as your where is Alex Pereira now in the pound-for-pound rank? Is the number 2 pound-for-pound fighter on the planet. Alex Pereira, your light heavyweight champion, has a matchup with the number 2 ranked Magomed Ankalaev somewhere in the future. It needs to happen. It needs to happen. Magomed Ankalaev, 19-1, his unbeaten streak, I'm pretty sure, is at 11 fights. Of those 11 finishes by knockout, he has 6 in the first round. He's just been dominant beyond belief. I'm excited to see that fight take place. I hope it does. It really should, but I don't really want to jinx it by saying, I'm so excited for that fight to happen. Then it never does. But that would be a really good test of Alex Pereira's grappling if those two are ever able to match up, which I hope they will, and I think that they will. So yes, thank you, Verdict community. Always giving me some good tidbits to talk over. Always fun to look at new things in the MMA community. And you know what else is fun to look at? And that's new things in pop culture, because we're back with Top 10 New Things in Pop Culture, where we look at 10 new things in the pop culture world, all coming at you from discussing film, your number one pop culture news source. And number 1, I'm super excited for this. They just dropped a little teaser. I watched it. Your number 1 thing in pop culture out of 10 is that we now have a look at Squid Game Season 2. It is coming out December 26th, right? The day after Christmas. How about Santa Claus going to be dropping in a little gift? And guess what? It's the second season of Squid Games. If no one saw the first Squid Game season, it takes place in some island, but essentially it's all these rich people lure these people to this place with the promise of winning, and if you don't win a game, you die. Okay, it's the Squid Games, and the rich elite of the world do this. And then, the star of the film is Lee Jung-jae, and he's absolutely phenomenal. He's a great lead, and I can't even remember how he last led off in the series, but I'll have to go back and rewatch it. Squid Game Season 2 coming at you December 26th. And another announcement from Netflix is that Squid Game Season 3 and Stranger Things Season 5 will both be the final seasons of the show, and they will both release respectfully in 2025. So I'm getting absolutely bombarded with amazing things in 2025. So many good movies, so many good shows, Stranger Things and Squid Games. Absolutely amazing. And I'm kind of glad they're wrapping up Squid Games as soon as they are, because 3 years ago, that was the last season. It's kind of good to drop the final 2 seasons back to back. Excited for that. Number 3, Deadpool and Wolverine uses the word F, the F word, if you will, the F-U-C-K, 118 times. It is a new franchise record, with the second film only having 90 F-bombs, and you don't even realize how many that is until you're hearing it every other sentence, but it's just so funny. The line deliverment from Hugh Jackman, from Ryan Reynolds, is just so comical, and for a film to use the F-bomb that much, it just works. It just absolutely works, and that's exciting that they are dropping the F-bomb that much. Not really. Vulgarity, not good, right? That's what we want, all right? We want a more modern society, unless it's Deadpool and Wolverine. Then you can drop the F-bomb as many times as you want. Number 4, 14 people were arrested and 10 victims were recovered in a human trafficking sting operation during San Diego Comic-Con. One of the victims was a 16-year-old girl. This happens everywhere. Every huge event, every convention, human trafficking takes place. It's absolutely crazy. It's even going on at San Diego Comic-Con. Are you freaking kidding me? What in the world? We need to stop this. Okay, we absolutely need to stop human trafficking. And who's doing this? Who's coming to a Comic-Con? This is for nerds. This is for movie geeks. Okay, and you're trafficking people. A 16-year-old girl, freaking sophomore in high school. Disgusting. I'm so glad they were able to save these people and catch the evil criminals who did this. But it happens every day, happens all around us. I just pray that, we're able to be saved. I know the Lord will be coming to help us, but man, there's just so much evil in this world. I absolutely despise that. Here's something from discussing film. The Army says they made a $11 million promotional deal with The Rock and the UFL, United Football League, which didn't lead to a single new recruit. They even said 38 recruits delisted. And then it was community noted, and it said the endorsement deal did not cause 38 recruits to delist. Rather, the U.S. Army calculated that the deal cost them a sum of money amounting to the cost of recruiting 38 individuals. Hey, that's what you get for trying to work with The Rock. The Rock is just after a bag. I only like Dwayne Johnson when he's in WWE. After that, he's kind of just another rich guy. Rich guy in the world doing a lot of stuff with all of his money. And number 5, Vince Vaughn will get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame next week. This was actually 6 now that I think about it. Vince Vaughn, he's in season 2 of True Detective. Just mentioned that. And just because I mentioned that, Vince Vaughn gets a little star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Very deserved. Vince Vaughn, an amazing actor. He can do the serious roles. He can do the comedy. Amazing. When he's in a role, he's not even Vince Vaughn. He's whatever role he's in. That's how you know that he is an amazing actor. Vince Vaughn, congratulations. Number 6, I think we're on. Number 6, a Mr. Miyagi prequel series is being discussed. Okay, we're on 7. We're just on 7. This is why I need to write this down. I kind of go off the top of my head. A Mr. Miyagi prequel series is being discussed by the Cobra Kai creators. Cobra Kai, Cobra Kai Never Die? That's what's going to happen. This Cobra Kai franchise will live on forever. Do we need a Mr. Miyagi prequel series? No, I think we need to end it and just say this was good when it was, but we've brought it on too long. Number 8, Kevin Feige confirms the White Vision TV series is in the works from Terry Mlatlis. It was from his amazing work on Star Trek Picard Season 3. I said, this is incredible. Let me find the person who made this. White Vision, yet again, going to be a C budget, a B budget, D budget Disney Plus series that no one's going to watch, that is just boring, and it has one big reveal at the end of the series that is relevant to the current state of the MCU. But seeing Paul, whatever his name is, who plays Vision, he's a very good actor. I like him, so maybe you'll check that out. I don't know. Number 9, Jonathan Majors says he is heartbroken that Robert Downey Jr. As Dr. Doom is replacing Kang for the next Avengers movies. He said, I love Kang. Dr. Doom is wicked, though. Jonathan Majors, I hate to inform you of this, but you would actually be the main villain of those films if you didn't enjoy beating women. This is a lesson to not beat women. okay? Self-defense if someone's attacking you, yes, okay? But coming home to your girlfriend, to your lover, and just beating her because you're a crazed, drunk adult, absolutely not. Jonathan Majors, you are a real-life villain. We do not like you. And number 10, Christopher Lloyd will return to star in Nobody 2. Nobody, if no one knows, is the guy from, here... Everybody loves Sal. Here Comes Sal, the guy from Breaking Bad. He's been in other films, too. Amazing film about essentially this black ops. I mean, just absolute killer from, the military. I don't even know what program he was in. But, he gets involved with people. They come after him. Turns out he's an absolute killer trying to live a normal day life, and he just goes on an absolute killing tangent. I absolutely loved Nobody, the first one, and the fact they're making a second one, count me in. I absolutely love that. I love Nobody. Should be a great, great sequel. And speaking of sequels, all right, how about a sequel to a sequel to a sequel to a sequel? All right, we're back with another installment of SummerSlam. That's right, another WWE PLE, the biggest event of the summer, going down in Cleveland, Ohio at the Browns Stadium. Gonna be an absolute banger of a event. I'm super excited for it, going down at 6 o'clock Central Time, p.m. That is Saturday. It's upcoming Saturday, August 3rd. So after you're done watching UFC Abu Dhabi, you can check in with WWE SummerSlam. There's 7 matchups going down, maybe some other surprises that could be taking place. Let's run through all the matchups, give our thoughts on some of them, and give our little prediction about who we think Triple H is going to be have holding all the belts after the event is all said and done. Out of the 7 official matches taking place, 6 of them are title matchups, which I find very interesting. And we actually have an official host of SummerSlam, which is The Miz. That's right, the legendary Miz, who's actually a Cleveland native. So it's very fitting he would be the one hosting this. Jelly Roll has the official theme songs of Dead End Road and Liar, and he will actually be performing those live at SummerSlam. So good for them. Absolutely good for them. There's a couple of storylines going down, but let's kick it off with kind of trying to predict the match card, you could say. As it's not as easy to predict what order the matches will take in, because the main event is probably going to be Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa, but it's a matter of what they want to open the card with, and I think they got to start off with a bang, and I think they're going to go with Logan Paul versus LA Knight. Now, don't get me wrong, Logan Paul, native of Ohio, might even be from the Cleveland area, but holding this belt for almost 300 days, he's only defended it twice, maybe 3 times. Okay, he's not an active fighter. He's a podcast host. He's just a big name to bring in when you need him. Yet he holds one of the bigger belts in the WWE. You could even say for the men's, this is the 3rd or 4th biggest belt. And he takes on LA Knight, and it's kind of been a decent build-up to this. LA Knight invading his home, Logan Paul going to LA Knight's home. It's been pretty interesting. I think this would be a great way to open up the card. But for all that is good in the world, Triple H, give the belt to LA Knight. LA Knight just has the look where if the United States Championship is around his waist or over his shoulder, it fits who he is. LA Knight is essentially the United States Championship. He's just an epitome of that. And I think we need more faces with belts, especially with the shakeups, I think, that are going to be coming from SummerSlam with some title changes, perhaps. But I do think it'd be good if LA Knight has it. A more concurrent superstar, I should say, instead of a babyface holding it. I mean, probably will deliver. I'm excited to see that match, but I do think LA Knight should win and will win the United States Championship, and this would be a great opening to the card. After that, it's kind of tough to say. I don't think we're going to go right into a women's championship match, but at the same time, there isn't really anything else to go with. So I'm going to say Bayley versus Nia Jax will be the second fight that we do, the second match of the evening. This one for the WWE Women's Championship on the SmackDown brand. And Nia Jax essentially been kind of the bully, one queen of the ring, been pushing Bayley around. Bayley has her friends. But the real outlier here, the real person you got to be paying attention to is your Money in the Bank winner, Tiffany Stratton, Minnesota native, by the way, from, where is she from? Not Plymouth. She's from somewhere in Minnesota that I absolutely recognize and can't think of the name. It'll come to me later. I know it, but She's been kind of teaming with Nia Jax, but at the same time, she'll easily stab her in the back any chance that she could get. So, Bayley, Nia Jax, second matchup of the evening. I think Bayley is going to win. But then, my buddy Tyler, who I went to WWE Raw with, he was kind of like, I think Tiffany Stratton will cash in. I kind of agree. Tiffany Stratton cashes in, and we have a new WWE Women's Champion. 2 belt changes to start the night. I think that is a great way. Absolutely great way to get things a-rolling. And then, it gets even more complicated. It gets even more complicated because there's just too many big fights on this card. There's just too many big ones. So I'm going to say for our third matchup of the evening is that we are going to go with, oh my gosh, I don't even know. This is tougher. So let's hypothetically say they do CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in the third slot. I mean, that's a main event worthy matchup right there, and I think those two will have a matchup at Bad Blood come October. But CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, the build-up for this matchup has been absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. It all starts at WrestleMania. They had a little bit of a feud beforehand. CM Punk beat him up. Damian Priest was able to cash in on Drew McIntyre, and he cost him the belt there, okay? Drew McIntyre about to win the belt at Clash at the Castle. CM Punk comes down and costs him. Drew McIntyre wins Money in the Bank, is about to cash in. CM Punk cost him, all right? We've definitely overdone it. Drew McIntyre is very deserving of a victory, and I saw them live. They were bickering. They've been going to battle. Seth Rollins being the special guest referee makes this even better. It's going to be absolutely hilarious. But I just do not see CM Punk returning and not winning. It just has to happen. It has to happen. I do think Drew McIntyre will get one back. Bash at the Berlin would be a perfect place to do that. We go into Bad Blood to settle it. CM Punk can end it there. But there's just no way CM Punk is losing in this regard. Unless Seth Rollins gets involved in some regard, which I think he will. But I do think CM Punk walks out on top in this one. It's just hard to see him returning and not being given the nod to get a victory here. After that, I think we're going to go Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker, and I honestly don't know what the direction the WWE is going to go in this one. Sami Zayn's your Intercontinental Champion. According to what I've already said, we're already going to have 2 title matches. Now we're on the 4th fight of the night. And I think Braun Breaker deserves this. I'm going to pick Braun Breaker to win. But they've just been giving Sami Zayn the wins left, right, and center. I'm just hoping it's time. I'm just hoping it's time that Braun Breaker gets a win here, but I can't promise anything. Sami Zayn, you've had a good run with it, but let's give it to Braun Breaker. He's so over. He'd be a great heel champion. Let's do it. Pull the trigger, Triple H. Give Braun Breaker the Intercontinental Championship. And with that, we go to our final 3 matchups of the evening. They are all 3 equally big. I mean, it's tough. A lot of these are good. But I do think we are going to be getting. Oh, guys, I think they're going to do Damian Priest versus Gunther first. Okay, they're going to do Damian Priest versus Gunther first. Then they're going to do Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley in the co-main event. Then we'll get into Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa. I agree. So Damian Priest, Gunther, of course, won King of the Ring, earning himself a championship opportunity. He's been putting on some good matches on Raw, preparing for this. Damian Priest, of course, leader of the Judgment Day, World Heavyweight Champion. He's now defended the belt against Jey Uso. He's defended it against Seth Rollins. He's defended it against Drew McIntyre. He's been an excellent champion. But Gunther is just so over. He's so over. He's the ring general. He's the guy. This one is 50-50, and it all comes down to an outside interference from Finn Balor. I believe that's the direction they're going to go. I think that Finn Balor is either going to unintentionally or intentionally cost Damian Priest the opportunity to win, and he's going to come out on top. Gunther, your new World Heavyweight Champion. So out of our 6 title fights, 4 title changes, according to Zach. 4 title changes. That's a lot. I know that's a lot, but I do think I would not put that past the WWE. I also wouldn't put it past them to have every single person retain on this card, okay? That's just what I'm saying, but Gunther, Damian Priest, whoever wins between those two, I support it. They are both amazing and will do great jobs as World Heavyweight Champion. My prediction for the co-main event, okay? Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley is the hottest women's feud in the WWE and honestly might be the hottest feud in the WWE right now. It is on absolute fire. These two ladies do not like each other. It all starts with the dirty Dominic Mysterio love triangle. Okay, Liv Morgan kind of injuring Rhea Ripley, being the cause of her injury in the WWE storyline, then beating Becky Lynch for the belt. I mean, she's been a great champion. She's got the look, all right? She pulls it off well, but then there's Rhea Ripley, so over with the fans, Judgment Day leader of sorts alongside Damian Priest. And this is another 50-50. I could see them keeping it with Liv. I could see them giving it back to Rhea. But I think to extend this storyline, Liv Morgan is going to retain. And guess what? I think it's going to come back on Judgment Day. Damian Priest has lost his belt. Now you only have the... who is it? Now you only have Finn Balor and what's his face? JD McDonough holding the World Tag Team Championships. And they're kind of like, well, I don't think I should be a part of a group if both of our leaders can't win the belts. Maybe a little angle like that. But Liv Morgan is so over right now. I hope she keeps it. But I'm going to say it's for every single matchup. I do not know what decision they're going to go in. But as we get to the main event, I think this one is the most predictable. But at the same time, I can't put anything past the WWE in this one. Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa for the Undisputed WWE Championship, and most likely in the main event. I don't see another world where this isn't the main event. And the entire idea around this match is that Roman Reigns is going to return after it's said and done. Now, whether that be Solo Sikoa retains or whether that be Cody Rhodes retains. Now, there's two options here. One, Cody Rhodes retains. Okay, Cody Rhodes retains. Then, Solo Sikoa, the rest of the bloodline start beating up on him. Roman Reigns' music hits. The biggest pop in WWE history goes off. I can see that taking place. The other side of things, Solo Sikoa somehow beats Cody Rhodes, which is just hard to imagine after all Cody Rhodes did to beat Roman Reigns. The matches with Logan Paul, AJ Styles. I mean, it's just hard to see that. You have potential fights with Randy Orton down the line. That's really hard to see, but, let's say Solo Sikoa retains. That's why Roman Reigns comes back to challenge him for the belt. So a lot of potential things could happen. I'm going to pick Cody Rhodes. I think we're going to end the night with some title retains, and then Roman Reigns returns. And also Roman Reigns might not return, but it's almost like everyone's talking about it so much, it's almost guaranteed that he's going to return. We'll have to see. WWE SummerSlam going down this Saturday. I'm so pumped for it. I can't believe I've gotten back into WWE. How does this happen? How'd they freaking do it? 10 years ago, I gave up WWE. I was like, you know what? I'm a middle schooler now. I'm not going to watch it. Now I'm 21 years old. It's hotter than ever. And speaking of hotter than ever, when we're going out to the desert, things are about to get hot. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we head to our main event of this episode, which is, of course, our UFC Abu Dhabi Predictions. And we got a bunch of banger matchups to bring to you guys. I mean, holy cow, we might have, I think it is 13 fights on this card. A lot of stuff to go through. Gotta drop our predictions. Strap in, grab a drink, turn up the headphones. Here's your locks, your predictions, and a little bit of a preview for UFC Abu Dhabi. Kicking off this amazing fight night, potential to be the best fight night of the year so far. We head to the men's middleweight division as Cedric the Reaper Dumas takes on Dennis Tululin. Alrighty, boys. Dennis Tululin 10-9 with 1 no contest. Cedric Dumas 9-2 professionally. 6'2 to 6'1 gives Cedric 1 inch in height, and he has 2 inches in reach. 79 inches is 77. Both men stand in the orthodox position. Cedric Dumas coming in as the favorite, minus 225, opposed to Dennis Tululin at plus 180. Let's start with the Reaper, Cedric Dumas, the 28-year-old from Pensacola, Florida. 4 KOs and 2 submissions of those 9 victories. Of his 2 losses, he's been KO'd once and submitted once. He was actually supposed to fight Dennis Tululin on June 22nd. That fight got postponed, and now it's going down at the first event of August. Look, Cedric Dumas, there's not much to say about this guy. He's a criminal. Right, he's been pulled over for DUI. I'm pretty sure he's been pulled over for, he's been talked to about domestic abuse. This guy's an absolute joke, okay? Won on Dana White's Contender Series in 2022. In his debut, got submitted in round 2. After that, went on 2-fight winning streak, beating Cody Brundage and Abu Azatir. Most recently, fought in March and got knocked out by Nursultan Ruzaboyev in 3 minutes. I do not like this guy at all. Cedric Dumas is just one of those just terrible human beings, just committing crimes, being a menace to society. His opponent, however, the plus 180 underdog, Dennis Tululin, man, 36 years old, from Moscow, Russia. 9 KOs of his 10 wins. Of his 9 losses, he's been KO'd 3 times and submitted 4 times. Look, he is 1-4 in the UFC, has yet to go the distance, has yet to see a round 3, might I add you. Dennis Tululin, how are you the savior to beat Cedric Dumas? Why are they doing this? First off, matchmakers, brilliant job with this one right here. But I mean, debuted against Alish Kebab Karizov in 2022, submitted round 2. September 2022, got a round 2 TKO over Jamie Pickett against Jung Park in February of 2023, submitted in round 1. August of 2023 against Gregory Rodriguez, TKO'd in under 2 minutes. Last fought in November 2023, TKO'd in round 2 by Christian Leroy Duncan. But we do not lose hope, ladies and gentlemen, okay? The 36-year-old Dennis Tululin, all the odds stacked against him. He's 10-9 with 1 no contest, but he is the heart of a lion. Give me Dennis Tululin, no nickname, to get this one done. I don't even know how. Okay, I don't even know how. And before you say, oh, why aren't you picking Cedric Dumas? It's because I legit don't know what to do. These guys are both at the bottom barrel of the middleweight division. They're 1 loss from being kicked out of the company. I'd rather go with the guy who is the underdog, 36 years old. I mean, out of his 19 professional bouts, he's only gone the distance, I think, 4 times in his entire career. Dennis Tululin, I'm putting my trust in you. You're the first fight on the prelims. Get a finish of Cedric Dumas. How about a little round 2 TKO for Dennis Tululin? I would absolutely love that. I'd go ballistic for that as well. Moving on up, guys. Lightweight division in our second bout of the evening. Jai Herbert. His nickname is the Black Country Banger. Wow. Orlando the Machine Bedoya is his opponent. Jai Herbert. What is that nickname? Goodness gracious. Jai Black Country Banger Herbert is 12-5-1. Rolando the Machine Bedoya 14-3. 5'11" to 6'1" gives Jai Herbert 2 inches in height. He also has 3 inches in reach. 77 inches is 74 over Rolando Bedoya. Both men stand in the orthodox fighting position. Jai Herbert, the favorite, minus 165. Rolando Bedoya will be your underdog at plus 120. Let's kick it off with the Black Country Banger, which that nickname is growing on me the more I say it. 36 years old, from England is Jai Herbert. It's a shame he just missed out on the England card. Come on, man. Of his 12 victories, 9 KOs and 1 sub. Not too bad. 10 out of 12 wins are by finish. Of his 5 losses, he's been KO'd 3 times and submitted once. As of late, Jai Herbert fought twice in 2023, a draw and a decision loss. But I wanted to point out that Jai Herbert has only taken the toughest of fights. Debuted in 2020 against Francisco Trinaldo. Almost knocked him out. Unfortunately, did end up getting knocked out himself in round 3. After that, in 2021, had to fight Renato Moicano. Got finished in round 2. Then took on Kama Worthy in 2021, round 1 TKO. Then his fight against Io Topura in March 2022. Almost knocked out your current featherweight champion, Io Topura, in round 1. I have no idea how Io survived that. He ultimately got knocked out pretty brutally in round 2, got face planted, but he almost knocked him out in round 1. He was so close to having him. July 2022, picked up a decision win over Cal Nelson. Took the absolute killer Ludwig Klein to a decision in March of 2023. Last fought in July 2023 against the upcoming Frenchman, Fair Zayam. Do not count this man out. Jai Black Country Banger Herbert is a dog. His opponent, Rolando Bedoya, 27 years old, from Peru. Of his 14 victories, 4 KOs and 3 subs, 50% finish rate. Of his 3 losses, he's never been finished. Rolando Bedoya debuted last year, had 2 fights in May and August, respectively. Lost to Cass Williams by decision and lost to Song Kinan by decision. He outstruck them by over 30 in each of those fights, yet still lost. He almost got knocked out by Song Kinan as well, so that should tell you something there. Rolando Bedoya is probably in a better position to get this one done, but there's just something about Jai Herbert that is calling my name. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the nickname. Maybe it's the fact he's almost knocked out Io Topura. I don't know what it is, but Rolando Bedoya has been less than impressive in his past 2 fights. And by the way, those were both at welterweight. He's coming on down to lightweight. That's Jai Herbert territory. Give me Jai Herbert, all right? Decision is probably going to be in the cards, but it would be more fun to think Orlando Bedoya gets knocked out. He's got some goofy bleach blonde hair. I don't even know what type of haircut. Yeah, we're riding with Jai, Black Country Banger, Herbert all day. Moving on to the women's strawweight division for our next matchup, as Victoria Dudikova takes on Sam Page Hughes. Her nickname is Sam Page. Interesting. Victoria Dudikova 8-0. Sam Hughes 8-6. Both women are 5'5". Victoria Dudikova with a 3-inch reach advantage. 67 inches is 64. Love that. Orthodox stance for both of these young, lovely women. Let's kick it off with the minus 190 favorite, Victoria Dudikova. From her name, if you couldn't tell, from Russia. 25 years old as well. All right, she's nice and young. She's getting it done in the UFC. All right, currently 2-0 in the UFC, coming from the Contender Series. Of her 8 victories, 2 KOs and 4 submissions. And she actually made her amateur debut at 20 years old. And in the year of 2020, actually, I think it was 2021, had 6 fights. It might have been 2019, actually. She had 6 fights in 1 year. It was absolutely incredible. What a way to make an amateur debut. So far, since joining the UFC, beat Estela Nunes last July. Had her, when she took her down, Estela Nunes went to stick her arm out and broke her elbow. It was absolutely brutal. And after that, fought Jingyu Frey in Abu Dhabi back in October of 2023 and got a dominant decision win there. Victoria Dudikova, I don't know what more you want. We're picking her. I don't even have to look at Sam Hughes. I mean, Sam Hughes, plus 160 underdog, 32 years old, from Washington. Of her 8 victories, 2 KOs and 3 submissions. Of her 6 losses, she's been KO'd once and submitted once. I mean, coming off a loss to Yasmin Jauregui in February, lost the decision there, just got outstruck. I mean, she's had a couple wins here and there. Overall, it's 3-5 in the UFC. Biggest win, she got a round 3 TKO with 8 seconds left against Elise Reed in 2022. There's not much to be left here. Yeah, Victoria Dudikova is going to maul her and is going to move to 9-0. I like Victoria Dudikova. She's very promising in the women's strawweight division. Sam Hughes, there's no excitement factor. I'm sorry, Sam. I really am. Keeping this prelim train a-rolling, we get on to one of my favorite fights of the night. We're back in the men's lightweight division as the return of the Georgian Viking, Guram Kudaladzhi, as he takes on former Cage Warriors featherweight champion, actually current Cage Warriors featherweight champion, Jordan Vukovic, the Epidemic. This is going to be an absolute banger of a fight. I am pumped for this one. Holy cow. Guram Kudaladzhi is 12-4. Jordan Vukovic is 13-2. And we don't even have stats on UFC stats for Jordan Vukovic, but Guram, 5'11", 72 inches. Both men are in the orthodox stance. I do have to find out Jordan Vukovic's stats because I do want to know his reach and height. Because, I mean, if he has a considerable reach or height over Guram Kudaladzhi, that could play into how I'm thinking of. Oh, he's 5'9". He's 5'9". Do we have a reach? Do we have a reach on him? All right, so that's good to know. All right, Guram's got 2 inches in height on him. Can we please just give me Jordan Vukovic's reach, and I'll be merrily on my way off of Tapology. Tapology, very reliable MMA site when it comes to information. And this is kind of the fun thing about the Surprise Jab podcast. We surprise pull up information live while we're recording. All right, 72-inch reach, which matches him up perfectly. Okay, Guram Kudaladzhi only has 2 inches in height. That's all he's got going for him. But Guram Kudaladzhi, minus 250 favorite. Jordan Vukovic, the plus 200 underdog. Stepping down short notice as Guram Kudaladzhi, I believe, who was Guram supposed to fight? He was supposed to fight someone. I honestly cannot remember for the absolute life of me. I thought I had it listed, but I guess I did not. I'm very sorry about that. I think he just had a number of canceled bouts, and Jordan Vukovic was like, fine, I'll step in on a short notice. But yeah, the Georgian Viking, Guram Kudaladzhi, 32 years old, from Georgia, now trains at Sweden, of course, with Hamza Chimaev, Ayir Latifi, and Alexander Gustafsson, all the great Swedish MMA fighters. Of his 12 wins, 7 KOs and 1 sub. Of his 4 losses, he's been KO'd and submitted once, respectfully. Of his 4-year tenure now in the UFC, he's had 5 canceled bouts. I mean, it's been tough going for Guram Kudaladzhi, and just overall, tough going in the UFC. His debut, fight of the night against Mateusz Gamrot, people argued he shouldn't have won that. It was close. After that, 2 years later, fights in June of 2022 and loses a close split decision to Demirs Magulov. He then fought last July and had a fight of the night against Elvis Brenner where he was winning and then got hit like under the jaw, almost on the neck, went down against Elvis Brenner. I mean, Guram Kudladze just cannot catch a break. We'll see what he does against the fully tatted Jordan Vukovic. 13-2, as we mentioned, plus 200 underdog. 28 years old, from England, man. You know, he said he was ready last week. He's ready to step in this week, the English native, on a current 4-fight winning streak. And by the way, all 4 of those fights have been submissions. I found that very interesting. Of his 13 wins, 2 KOs and 6 submissions. Of those 2 losses, he's never been finished. Current Cage Warriors featherweight champion. I'll be excited to see what Jordan Vukovic brings. You know, he's a very entertaining guy, certainly with the tattoos, his style. But I would be remiss if I said I was not going to ride with Guram Kudladze. This is my last chance, giving Guram the benefit of a doubt. I predicted him the last 2 times, and he's sadly let me down. But this is do or die for Guram. He is statistically, you know, on paper, Guram Kudladze, looking at all his skills, his well-roundedness, should be a top 10 guy in the UFC lightweight division. But no, he's taking on a current Cage Wars champion. Sorry, Jordan, I keep calling you former. But you know what? I'm just excited for this, and it's going to be interesting to see Jordan Vukovic in the UFC shorts, because let me just tell you, look him up on Instagram. That boy's covered head to toe in tattoos. Going from lightweight to heavyweight now. Okay, moving on. Guram Kudladze, get it done, but we're going to the heavyweights as Shamil Gaziev takes on Dontel Lord Kong Mays. Or maybe it's Lord Kong, Dontel Mays, Lord Kong. I don't know. Lord Kong is a wacky nickname, let me tell you that. Shamil, 12-1 professionally. Dontel Mays, 11-6 with 1 no contest. 6'4" to 6'6" gives Dontel 2 inches in height. He also has 3 inches in reach, 81 inches to 78. Both men are in the orthodox fighting position. Let's start with Shamil Gaziev, guys. Okay, Shamil is the favorite at minus 275, 34 years old, from Bahrain. Of course, he trains at KHK with Islam Makhachev, all the other Dagestani boys. Yeah, Shamil is tight with all of them. Of those 12 wins, 8 KOs and 3 submissions. He is an absolute killer. But he was actually killed last time out, oddly. You know, he came in on Dana White's Contender Series in 2023, round 1 submission. December 2023, made his debut. Round 2 TKO of Martin Buday, super impressive. They decided, hey, you're ready for a main event. Main event against Jairzinho Rozenstruik earlier in March. The fight was stopped after round 4 due to, I believe it was the swelling around his eye, but he was getting outstruck significantly, 127-22 against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Shamil Gaziev was shot too high up the ladder. We're dropping him down. He's fighting someone more his speed in Dontel Mays. The plus 220 underdog Dontel Mays, 32 years old, from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Of his 11 wins, 4 KOs and 3 submissions. Of those 6 losses, he's been KO'd once and submitted twice. Dontel, you know, he's got himself a little height, a little reach in this one. Been with the UFC since 2019. He actually fought on the Contender Series 3 times. Lost in 2017, won in 2018, won again in 2019. Finally gave him an opportunity. Gets heel hooked by Shogun at his debut. Pretty comical. Hasn't really had any success in the UFC. His biggest win, definitely over Andrei Arlovsky last June. Actually June of 2023, I should say. But he did fight earlier this year in April and beat Kyle Machado by unanimous decision. So Dontel is coming in with some more recency, but from everything I've seen from Shamil, you know, he's 12-1. 11 of those are finishes. You know, you're going from Martin Buday, who he ended Martin Buday's like 12-fight winning streak or 15-fight winning streak. It was absolutely incredible. And then having him fight Jairzinho Rozenstruik, who's been fighting top guys for so long. By the way, Jairzinho couldn't finish him, knockout artist. I just think Dontel is much lower. We'll see if Dontel can rise to the occasion, but I'm going to pick Shamil Gaziev. And also, Abu Dhabi's kind of home turf for all the Russian boys. We'll see what happens. Best of luck to both of these gentlemen. Keeping our prelims a-rolling. They just don't stop. We have a couple more to talk about. We head back down to the men's lightweight division. So many lightweight matchups on the prelims. My goodness. As Mohammed the UAE Warrior Yaha takes on Kau Fernandez. Mohammed Yaha, 12-4. Kau Fernandez, 8-2. Both men are 5'9". Both men have a 73-inch reach. Orthodox stands for Fernandez. Switch stands for Mohammed. This is an interesting one. This is a very interesting one. Muhammad Yah, plus 260 underdog. Cal Fernandez, minus 350 favorite. Let's start with Muhammad Yah, okay? 30 years old, of course, from the United Arab Emirates. It's in his freaking nickname. Of his 12 wins, 7 KOs and 2 subs. Of those 4 losses, he's been KO'd once and subbed twice. He had his debut at the last time we were in Abu Dhabi in October of 2023. Now, he lost against Trevor Peek in that matchup, but he proved he was an absolute dog, just hanging in there at Trevor Peek, giving him a run for his money. Muhammad Yah is legit. Okay, let me just say that off the bat. Muhammad Yah is legit. But I will say, being a plus 260 underdog is kind of a lot. It really is a lot. And especially against Cal Fernandez at minus 350, the 29-year-old from Brazil. Of his 8 wins, 4 KOs and 2 subs, both of his losses he was not finished in. He made his debut in Brazil in front of his home crowd in November, and he lost to Mark Diakise. He actually ended up getting out-grappled in this one. And I think we're back in the United Arab Emirates. You didn't beat Mark Diakise, who has amazing grappling. I honestly think this is a perfect chance for an underdog to cash big here. I'm going to go with Muhammad Yah. There's just something about him. What I saw against Trevor Peek was much more impressive than what I saw Cal Fernandez put out against Mark Diakise. Cal Fernandez looked lost against Mark Diakise. Muhammad Yah was hanging in there at Trevor Peek, but as we all know, Trevor Peek's a dog. You got to be an even bigger dog. You got to have a bigger bite than a freaking Trevor Peek to be able to hang with him. So, Muhammad Yah, we're riding with you. The UAE Warrior getting it done in the UAE. Here we go. We mentioned him earlier. This is a banger. Men's light heavyweight division. The number 14th ranked Azamat Murzakanov and the number 15th ranked Alonzo Menafield. Alonzo Atomic Menafield, 15-4-1. Azamat the professional Murzakanov, a perfect 13-0. 6 foot to 5'10", gives Alonzo 2 inches in height, and he has a very notable 5 inches in reach, 76 inches to 71. Azamat throws that left hand in the southpaw. Alonzo, of course, is orthodox with that right hand. All right. We'll kick it off with Alonzo Menafield here, guys. And here's a guy in Alonzo Menafield who just throws caution to the wind every single fight. The plus 160 underdog, 36 years old, from Texas. Of those 15 wins, 9 KOs and 4 submissions. So, 13 of his 15 wins are by finish. And he's been KO'd twice of his 4 losses. Most recently, he fought Carlos Uberg in May, and he decided to bum rush him and got knocked out in 12 seconds. Yeah, Carlos Uberg on my KO of the year. He definitely has, I think, the fastest KO of the year in 12 seconds. It was something embarrassing for Alonzo Menafield. And Alonzo, been around a while, since 2019, fought in the Contender Series twice. Actually has an 8-second knockout on the Contender Series. He's had a lot of round 1 finishes, been finished in round 1. This is a guy who holds wins over Paul Craig, over Misha Serkinov, Dustin Jacoby, Jimmy Crute. He's a dog, honestly. Now, he does hold losses to Oven St. Preux, Devin Clark. He had a draw against Jimmy Crute. Most recently, Carlos Uberg. This is a major 50-50 matchup right here, and it all comes down to what Azamat Murzakanov we get. The minus 190 favorite, 35 years old, born in Russia, trained in Russia, fought in Russia, now lives in New Jersey, trains in New Jersey as well. Of his 13 wins, 9 KOs and 1 submission. And he's had so many cancel bouts. He's had cancel bouts against Volkan Ozdemir in September, Khalil Rountree Jr. in December. So he is fighting down against the guys they wanted to have him fighting against. He's 3-0 in the UFC, had a round 1 knockout on the Contender Series in 2021, debuted with a round 3 knockout, August 2022 had a round 3 knockout, fought Dustin Jacoby in a dogfight last April 2023, took him to the limit, ended up winning that matchup. I love this. I think that Azamat Murzakanov has the knockout power in the fists, in the knees. Alonzo Menafield takes a lot of chances, okay, and unless he is very cautious, he's going to get caught, and we're giving this one to the professional Azamat Murzakanov. We're riding with, you always know we ride with the Russians in Abu Dhabi, boys. That's always the smartest decision, okay? It's better to pick the Russians and root against them than it is to try and directly go against them. But Azamat Murzakanov, he'll have a bit of a reach and height, issue there, but Dustin Jacoby had way more height and reach, and, we saw how that fight went. He almost knocked him out. keeping us a-rolling. All right, we're back down in the lightweight division for our final prelim of the night. I forgot if we have a 6-fight main card. I think this might be the first fight on the main card, actually. I think we might be running a little 6-fight main card here. So, Joel El Fenomeno Alvarez taking on Elvis Brenner. These are some of the best unranked lightweights we got in the UFC right now. Joel Alvarez minus 120 underdog. Elvis Brenner plus 100 underdog, I should say. Joel Alvarez is the favorite. Odds are very close in this one. All right, Joel Alvarez 20-3. Elvis Brenner 16-4. 6'3" to 5'10" gives Joel 5 inches in height, and he has 5 inches in reach, 77 inches to 72. Both men stand in the orthodox fighting position. Joel Alvarez, one of the much better unranked lightweights we got out there. 31 years old from Spain. Of his 20 wins, 3 KOs and 17 submissions. 100% finish rate through 20 fights. Boom. That's incredible. He's been KO'd twice, so he's only ever been the distance once in his entire career. That was actually in his debut in 2019 against Damir Ismagulov. Fun enough. He's so far had 2 canceled bouts this year, one against Matus Rebecca and the other against Ludwig Klein. So they've been putting him against gangsters. He's ready to take on a gangster in Elvis Brenner. Joel last fought July 2023, round 2 Darce and Mark Diakise. His last loss was Arman Sarukian in 2022. That should tell you something. Other than that, finishes of Joe Duffy, finishes to Thiago Moises, both of those in round 1. Joel Alvarez is a killer. His opponent, Elvis Brenner, has been nothing but spectacular since coming into the UFC, all right? The 26-year-old from Brazil, of his 16 wins, 3 KOs, and 11 submissions. Of his 4 losses, never finished. Currently is 3-1 in the UFC. Was on a nice little win streak with wins over Guram Kudladze and Kanan Kreshki, one of the better knockouts of the year last year over Kanan, before running into my Tech oral bye in May. My Tech surprised everyone by just dominating. Elvis Brenner looked phenomenal while doing it, but this is no Matek oral bye. Okay, Joel Alvarez is a submission export. He hunts for it. By the way, aside from the 100% finish rate, 17 of his 20 wins are by submission. Do I even need to tell you how I think Joel Alvarez is going to get this done? Yeah, Joel Alvarez by submission. I'm sorry, Elvis. I love you, but Joel Alvarez is just too talented. And when the fact is that your only loss in the UFC in the last 4 years is to the current number 1 contender who just beat Charles Oliveira, that should tell you something about how good Joel Alvarez is, all right? Let's keep it moving, guys, all right? We're going to the women's division, final women's fight of the night, and it's a good one. I'm actually kind of excited for this one. As the number 7th ranked women's strawweight, Mackenzie Dern takes on the number 10 ranked Lupi Godinez. These 2 women are going to be hungry for a win. I'm excited for this one. Mackenzie Dern, the minus 120 favorite, takes on Lupi Godinez, the plus 100 underdog. Mackenzie Dern ranked number 7, 13-5 overall. The number 10 ranked Lupi Godinez, 12-4. 5'4" to 5'2" gives Mackenzie 2 inches in height, and she has 2 inches in reach, 63 inches to 61. Both women are in the orthodox fighting position. Let's look at Mackenzie Dern, man. Main event Mackenzie, she does not disappoint. The 31-year-old from Los Angeles, California, I do believe she has a Brazilian background, I'm pretty sure, has 7 submissions of her 13 wins, and of her 5 losses, she's only ever been KO'd once. Mind you, that was in November against Jessica Andrade when she was dropped 4 times. She most recently had a fight of the night against Amanda Lemos in February. That was a super fun fight. I won't lie. Low IQ from Amanda Lemos and Mackenzie Dern, but a fun fight. She's been with the UFC since 2018. I mean, she's fought in Amanda Ribas. She's fought in Virna Jandiroba, Marina Rodriguez, Tisha Panton, Yan Chonin, Angela Hill. She has had so many fights. She's so fun to watch, and I'm so excited to see Mackenzie Dern back in action. And she's the favorite. By the way, she's the favorite for this matchup with Lupi Godinez. Lupi Godinez, 30 years old, from Mexico. Of her 12 wins, 3 submissions. So 9 of 12 wins by decision. Yeah. She's a decision machine. Trains at Lobo Gym with Diego Lopez, Alexa Grasso, Brandon Moreno, all the killers of the Mexican scene. And I mean, Lupi Godinez was on a 4-fight win streak before running into Virna Jandiroba earlier this year in March. By the way, she could not finish Lupi, and that was actually a very close decision. Other than that, some losses to Jessica Penne in 2021, Lujan Carolina in 2021, Angela Hill in 2022. Lupi is talented. Biggest win probably over Tabitha Ritchie in November, won a split decision. She should be bringing her A game to this one, but you already know we're Mackenzie Dern fans here on the podcast. Give me Mackenzie Dern by submissions. I think Lupi is very technical. I think Mackenzie Dern, since getting divorced, she has had 3 ridiculous fights against Angela Hill, Jessica Andrade, and Amanda Lemos. That's where she takes all her frustrations from her personal life out on, are in the octagon. And Lupi Godinez just, quite frankly, has not dealt with anyone pressuring her like Mackenzie Dern's going to pressure her. I'm riding with Dern. I think she gets it done. But I'm honestly not Lupi Godinez hater. So if Lupi does pull it out, good job to you. All right, the next one, guys. Okay, the next 4 are just so phenomenal. First off, before we get into the next 4, I do want to say a rest in peace to Vicente Luque and Nick Diaz. What a fight we could have had between those two. It would have been a banger of a co-main event. Instead, we will be getting Charles Magomedov versus Michael Okajacek, which we'll talk about in a second. But let's kick it off with what could be the final fight we see of Tony Ferguson. We say it every single time, but man, this really feels like it could be it, okay? Tony Okakui Ferguson, Michael Maverick Chiesa in the men's welterweight division. This is do or die for both of these men. Tony Ferguson, 26-10. I remember when he was 26-3. Man, how time does it ever drive you crazy? Just how fast the night changes. Yeah, that's Tony Ferguson's career since 2020. Michael Chiesa, 18-7. 6'1" to 5'11" gives Michael 2 inches in height. Tony, 1 inch in reach. All right, orthodox for Tony, southpaw for Michael Chiesa. All righty, guys. Tony Ferguson plus 320 underdog. I guarantee that number's going to rise. 40 years old, born and raised California. Of those 26 wins, 11 KOs and 9 submissions. Of those 10 losses, 2 KOs, 3 submissions. So 50% finish rate when he loses. 20 of his 26 wins, though. Okay, not too bad. Tony, it's a shame. It's a shame what could have been. I always love to point out the 5 canceled Khabib fights. What could have been there. Tony Ferguson's legendary, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 fight win streak, cut short by Justin Gaethje in 2020, would lead to the craziest downward spiral, surpassing BJ Penn. I mean, he's currently tied with BJ Penn for the longest losing streak in UFC history. I'm pretty sure. Maybe Sam Alvey, but Tony Ferguson has not won a fight since June of 2019. Tony Ferguson could have the longest losing streak in UFC history if he loses this upcoming Saturday. And I mean, the Charles Oliveira, the Beneil Dariush fights, got brutally outgrappled. That was bad. Then Michael Chandler knocking him out cold. Nate Diaz becoming the first man to submit him. Bobby Green becoming the second man to ever submit him. And then, of course, getting dominated by Paddy Pimblett in December with David Goggins in your corner. It's been a rough going for Tony Ferguson, but of all the opponents he's fought, okay, Justin Gaethje, former title challenger. Charles Oliveira, former champion. Beneil Dariush was 1 fight away from a title shot. Was on like a 7-fight win streak. Michael Chandler, crazy KO power. He actually almost beat him in round 1. Nate Diaz, Tony did not take that fight serious and was just being a goof, all right? Bobby Green, that one's kind of unexcusable. I can't lie. Actually, Bobby Green, I poked him in that one. There you go. And Paddy Pimblett is legit after we just learned. So there's an explanation for every Tony Ferguson loss. There's not an explanation for this one as he takes on Michael Maverick Chiesa. Minus 410 favorite. You're never going to see Michael Chiesa as a minus 410 favorite ever again. 36 years old from Washington. Of those 18 wins, he has 10 submissions. Of his 7 losses, 1 time he's been KO'd, 5 times he's been subbed. He's currently on a 3-fight losing streak. Michael Chiesa, been with the UFC since 2012, won the Ultimate Fighter. I mean, this guy's fought Jorge Masvidal, Joe Lazone, Jim Miller, Beneil Dariush, Kevin Lee, Anthony Pettis, Carlos Condit, Diego Sanchez, Rafael dos Anjos. They just keep coming. Hasn't won a fight since 2021. Last fought in June of 2023. Got submitted in just under 3 minutes by Kevin Holland. Yeah, it's going to be a tough going here for both of these men. We'll see who pulls it out. But I just know from the past, picking Tony Ferguson has never paid off. I've not predicted Tony Ferguson to win the last 2 fights. He hasn't. I predicted him to beat Nate Diaz, Beneil Dariush, Charles Oliveira, and Justin Gaethje. He didn't beat any of those guys. I've learned now that you just can't pick Tony Ferguson to win. You just kind of have to pray he can get it done. But I think Michael Chiesa is just going to grapple him to death. Might even submit him. I don't know. This is Tony Ferguson's best shot. And even with his best shot, it's hard to picture a path to victory. We'll see what he does. He also said he's done 120 rounds of sparring for this camp. He said he hadn't sparred in 7 years, that he's taken this fight serious. Tony, I've heard enough excuses. Get out of here, okay? But respectfully, I love Tony Ferguson. All right, here we go. Here's a fun one. I'm surprised that this isn't the co-main event. if I'm being honest. The bantamweight, just star-studded matchup here as number 4 ranked Marlon Vera takes on number 6 ranked Davison Figueiredo. God of War. Oh my goodness, this is going to be so good. Da Guerra is God of War. Davison Figueiredo's nickname. The 23-3-1 former flyweight champion takes on Marlon Vera, 23-9-1. Gosh, the experience between these two is unreal. 5'8" to 5'5" gives Marlon 3 inches in height, and he has 2 inches in reach, 70 inches to 68. Switch stance for Marlon, orthodox for Davison Figueiredo. Marlon plus 135 underdog. Davison Figueiredo at the minus 160 favorite for this matchup. Number 4 ranked bantamweight Marlon Vera, 31 years old, born in Ecuador, now lives and trains in California. Of his 23 wins, 8 KOs and 10 submissions. Of his 9 losses, guys. Of his 9 losses, and in his insane 33 professional MMA fight career, he's never been finished or knocked down. Absolutely incredible. No one's been able to crack the code of Marlon Vera. Marlon Chito Vera, been around since 2014, for goodness sakes. This guy has had trilogies with Davey Grant, fought in John Lineker. He's beaten Frankie Sands, Song Yadong, Jose Aldo. Holds a win over Sean O'Malley. He did not beat Jose Aldo or Song Yadong, but he's fought in them. Holds wins over Rob Font, Dominic Cruz, Pedro Munoz. As of late, he's 1-2. Losses to Corey Sandhagen, most recently in March. Got exposed by Sean O'Malley for thinking he was better than Sean. He was not. Got outstruck significantly, 230 to 89. But he took some big hits in that fight, which proved that his chin is still legit. Now, I do think he faces a huge test here against a grappler in Davison Figueiredo. Davison Figueiredo, the minus 160 favorite, 36. You know, he's older. He's older, and there is a little curse after 35 for everyone below the lightweight limit, but hey, I'm not going to say that's real or anything. Of his 23 wins, 9 KOs, 9 submissions. They have the same number of finishes. That's crazy. Of his 3 losses, he's lost by decision, he's lost by TKO, and he's lost by submission. So he's lost all 3 ways, all right? Decision, submission, and KO. All right, Davison Figueiredo, been around the block a fat minute since 2017. Former flyweight champion. Wins over Brandon Moreno, Alex Perez, Joseph Benavidez, Tim Elliott, Alexander Pantoja. He's beaten them all. Currently, as of late, December of 2023 and April of 2024, has picked up 2 huge wins at men's bantamweight. Wins over Rob Font and Cody Garbrandt. Submitted Cody Garbrandt at UFC 300. Coming into this one with some momentum, as fun as it would be to pick Marlon Vera, I do think the grappling is going to give Davison Figueiredo the win in this one. All I've seen from Marlon Vera, his entire run since I've tuned in to Marlon Vera's career, is whenever he faces a grappler, he struggles. He struggles clear as day. Clear as day, all right? Corey Sandhagen using the grappling. That's how he freaking beat him. Dominic Cruz won the first 2 rounds over him from taking him down and grappling. Rob Font almost won a round over Marlon Vera, grappling him. Frankie Edgar was beating him using his grappling. Davey Grant was beating him, almost beat him on the scorecards due to his grappling. It's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But Davison Figueiredo, I do think he'll get it done there. Figueiredo will have to be careful with the power that Marlon Vera is going to bring. But if he can survive Rob Font and Cody Garbrandt, I think he can survive Marlon Chito Vera and become the first man to finish him. That's right, we're being very ambitious here on the podcast. Getting into our co-main event, guys. I don't actually know if I have to touch too much on it because, all right, first off, it's between Shara Bullet Magomedov and Michael Husar Olakajasek. And Michael Olakajasek tweeted out to a fan, I don't know if this is real or not, I'm pretty sure it's real because Full Violence reposted it, that he said, someone asked him there, like, Michael, how are you, what do you think is going to be next after this fight? And he says, I don't know what's next. I don't even know if I'm going to win. Okay, Michael Olakajasek doesn't even have the confidence to win. I'm penciling in Shara Magomedov round 1 knockout right now, guys. Right now, Shara Magomedov round 1 knockout. It's pen to paper has been put. We'll still read you the statistics. Shara Magomedov 13-0. Michael Olakajasek 19-8. 6'2" to 6 foot gives Shara 2 inches in height. Michael does have 1 inch in reach. 74 inches to 73. Southpaw stands for Michael. Orthodox for Shara Magomedov. And the Bullet. Okay, the Bullet. The Star. 30 years old. The minus 275 favorite from Moscow. 13 wins. 11 KOs. 2-0 in the UFC. Recently fought June 22nd. Round 3 TKO performance of the night over Antonio Tricoli. He looked amazing in that. So happy to see Chara back. And this is on short notice to replace Vicente Luque versus Nick Diaz. Chara Magomedov bringing the heat. His opponent, the plus 220 underdog, Michael Olkajacek, 29 years old from Poland. Of his 19 wins, 14 KOs and 1 submission. So he's got a puncher's chance here, okay? This is going to be a swinging fight, all right? There will be no grappling whatsoever in this matchup. I will say Michael Olkajacek, of the 8 losses, he's been finished 7 times. Once by KO, 6 by submission. Most recently, he's 1-3 in his last 4. 2-fight losing streak. He was submitted in March against Michel Pereira in a minute, and he was submitted by Kevin Holland in June in a minute 30. So, not the best. Last time he was KO'd was, I don't even think it was in the UFC, so there's something for you, but he has been submitted 5 times in the UFC. We'll have to see what Michael Olkajacek shows up. I've seen him knock out Chidi Njokuani, knock out Sam Alvey, knock out Cody Brundage, knock out Shamil Gamazov. We know it's there. All right, we know the knockout power is there, but I just think Chara Magomedov is just kind of a bit ahead of Michael Olkajacek, and Olkajacek doesn't have even the confidence in himself going forward. So, unfortunate to see. I hope that he can get some confidence, but we're riding with the bullet, Chara Magomedov. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to our main event of the evening. And let's begin with the number 2 ranked Corey Sandhagen versus the number 10 ranked Umar Nurmagomedov. And you're going to see that number 2 guy versus the number 10 guy. All right, Corey Sandhagen is a plus 200 underdog. Umar Nurmagomedov minus 250 favorite. This is crazy. That's how much hype Umar Nurmagomedov carries with him. Okay, Sandhagen 17-4. Umar Nurmagomedov, 17-0, undefeated, a true protege of Khabib Nurmagomedov. 5'11 to 5'8 does give Corey Sandhagen 3 inches in height, so he's got the height. The reach, kind of closer, 70 to 69. Corey has 1 inch there. Switch stance for Corey. Umar is very orthodox, as most of them Russian Dagestani wrestlers are. Let's kick it off with Corey Sandhagen, the former interim title challenger. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. The number 2 bantamweight in the world. 32 years old from Colorado. Trains at Elevation Fight Team with, Neil Magny, Curtis Blades, all the other gentlemen and ladies there at Elevation Fight Team in Colorado. Of his, what is he at now? 17 wins. He has 7 KOs and 3 submissions. He's only ever been subbed once of his 4 losses. And in the main event scene, he is 4-1. Corey Sandhagen, been with the UFC since 2018. He's had some amazing performances, finishes of Austin Amet, Iri Alcantara, Mario Batista, Marlon Moraes, Frankie Edgar. He's done it all. Fight of the night against Petr Yan, fought Aljamain Sterling. Fought TJ Dillashaw. Should have won that TJ Dillashaw fight. But Corey Sandhagen, one of the most fun fighters to watch. I will say, in the last 3 fights, he's been less than entertaining, to say the least. Song Yadong fight was kind of entertaining in September 2022. March 2023, Marlon Vera just grappled him to death. And Rob Font, freaking August 2023, 7 for 7 on takedowns, 20 minutes of control time, landed 34 significant strikes. That was boring. Okay, that was boring. But I think Sandhagen is going to want to keep it on the feet here as he takes on the undefeated 5-0 in the UFC, 17-0 professionally, the minus 250 favorite, Umar Nurmagomedov, the 28-year-old from Dagestan, Russia. Of his 17 wins, 2 KOs and 7 submissions, my bad. These two are actually supposed to fight August 5th, 2023. So a year later, this fight is finally going down. Boom, banger. Umar, of his 5 wins in the UFC, he has 3 finishes, 2 submissions, and a knockout. Last fought in March of this year, where he fought an unranked, making his debut, Belzat Akmakhan. Because, no one would fight Umar. Literally, no one has wanted to fight Umar, and I don't even know how Umar is in the rankings right now at 10. Hasn't beaten nowhere near a ranked opponent. Closest person he's fought to the rankings is Raoni Barcelos in January of 2023, who he knocked out in round 1 with a solid punch. The Belzat fight, most recently, he was actually dropped in the opening 10 seconds and then landed 5 of 5 takedowns across 15 minutes to get 11.5 minutes of control time. Even at a 30-25 scorecard, the grappling and control of Umar Nurmagomedov is off the charts. That's the tale of this fight. Umar shooting for takedowns. Sandhagen's going to want to keep this on the feet. I'm so sorry. I'm sure the world is rooting for Corey Sandhagen, but I'm not picking against Umar Nurmagomedov. I'm just not. He's a mini Khabib. He's a bantamweight Khabib. You got lightweight Khabibs, welterweight Khabibs, middleweight Khabibs. He's your bantamweight. Khabib, okay? He gets it done, holds him down, controls him. And I think Umar might even get a little submission here, okay? And his striking's also underrated, all right? People are sleeping on the hands of Umar Nurmagomedov. Should be a fun card. Sandhagen, I hate to pick against you, but I'm just not going against the Russians tonight. I'm just not going to do it. I know better than to bet against the old Russian boys. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that brings an end to episode 107 of the Surprise Jab Podcast. This was fun. I always have a good time going over UFC, WWE pay-per-views, new UFC news, new shows, new movies, new questions, all sorts of fun stuff. We will be back next week with more banger episodes. Locking your predictions, okay? I got the underdog picks for UFC Abu Dhabi. Let's see, what underdogs did we ride with tonight, folks? We rode with... We didn't ride with too many underdogs. Muhammad Yah at plus 260. You can get him. Dennis Tallulah plus 180. Yeah, we only picked 2 underdogs in 13 fights. Maybe not the best, but it is what it is. I hope you guys had fun. I had fun, and guess what? You already know what's coming. I'll make sure to catch you next time on the Surprise Jab Podcast. Thank you, guys.